predicting every NFL team's final record based on the regular season schedule. NFC North. The NFC North. The frigid. The battle-tested. We're going alphabetical. Guess who's first? NFC North 2023. Chicago Bears. Week 1, Green Bay. Loss. Week 2, at Tampa Bay. Win. Week 3, Kansas City. Loss. Week 4, Denver. Loss. Week 5, at Washington. Win. Week 6, Minnesota. Loss. Las Vegas, or Vegas coming to Chicago in week 7. Victory. At Los Angeles in week 8. Loss. At New Orleans in week 9. Victory. Carolina week 10. Victory. At Detroit in week 11. Loss. At Minnesota week 12. Loss. Bye week. Week 13. Detroit comes to Chicago. Home field advantage. W. Cleveland week 15 at Cleveland. W. Arizona week 16. W. Atlanta week 17. W. Green Bay week 18 in Lambeau. Absolutely no chance they win that football game, but that gives them 8 losses. That would be 9 wins on the year for the Chicago Bears. 9-8. Think it's very possible. Think it's very legitimate. Step up this year for Justin Fields in the Chicago Bears, who are always going to put together a competitive team to some degree. 9-8 for the Bears. Moving on in the NFC North, the Detroit Football Lions. Week 1, Kansas City for the Lions. I mean, you don't go to Kansas City and win any football games ever, so they lose. Seattle week 2, they lose. Atlanta week 3, win. Green Bay at Green Bay week 4, loss. Carolina week 5, win. At Tampa Bay in week 6, win. At Baltimore week 7, loss. Las Vegas week 8, win. At LA week 9 against the Chargers, loss. Chicago in Detroit, win. Green Bay at home, win. At New Orleans, win. At Chicago, loss. Denver, loss. Minnesota in Minnesota, that's a loss. At Dallas, win. Minnesota at home, loss. That puts them at 8-9. 8-9 for the Detroit Lions this year. That's very respectable. Again, that's probably right where we expect the Detroit Lions to be. 8 wins, 9 losses. It's fine by me. You got Jared Goff at quarterback, a rookie back. Defense was really bad last year. 8-9, solid. Could fluctuate plus or minus 1 win or 1 loss. Moving on, Green Bay Packers 2023 schedule. What do you guys think? I'll tell you what what exactly is going to happen with the Packers in 2023. Week 1 at Chicago. I don't know. What did we say? I don't remember. But I think week 1 at Chicago, they lose that game. Week 2 at Atlanta, they win that game. Week 3 New Orleans, they win that game. And Detroit, week 4, they win that game. Week 5 Las Vegas, they win that. And they come out of these games 4-1 in their first 5. Get a bye week in week 6. They lose to Denver in week 7. They lose to Minnesota in week 8. They beat the Rams in week 9. They lose to Pittsburgh in week 10. They lose to the Chargers in week 11. They lose at Detroit in week 12. They lose to Kansas City in week 13. They lose to New York in week 14. They beat Tampa Bay in week 15. They beat Carolina in week 16. They lose to Minnesota in week 17. And they lose to Chicago in week 18. That puts them at 8-9. I love it. 8-9. It's exactly where they're going to be. Jordan Love is fine. They're fine. They're young. They're inexperienced. 8-9 is about where I expect them to be. Last team in the NFC North, the old Vikes. Kirk Chains, right? Kirk Cousins. Minnesota Vikings 2023 schedule will go as follows. Tampa Bay week 1, W. At Philly week 2, big time loss. They beat the Chargers at home in week 3. They beat the Panthers in week 4. They lose to Kansas City. At Chicago, win. San Francisco, loss. At Green Bay, loss. Atlanta, week 9, win. New Orleans, week 10, win. Denver, week 11, win. Chicago at home in week 12, win. At Las Vegas in week 14, win. Cincinnati in week 15, loss. Detroit, week 16, win. Green Bay in week 17, win. At Detroit in week 18, that's a win for them as well. That's 5 losses. That's 12 wins for the Minnesota Vikings, 12-5 when we're all said and done. To recap the NFC North, I got 12-5 for the Vikings. I got 8-9 for the Bears, 8-9 for the Packers, and I think 8-9 for the Lions. Going to be a pretty mid division. The Vikings are the best team in that division.